Hello, and welcome to our webinar for today. Thank you for joining us and welcome. If this is your first time with us, the Women in Trucking Association is a nonprofit organization with the mission to champion the employment and advancement of women in trucking, foster connections, and recognize achievements. We were founded on the belief that the industry is stronger when women are supported, visible, and advancing in every role. Over the years, that belief has been carried forward by a dedicated leadership team and sustained through the energy of our members, sponsors, and partners. Today, we're proud to be a growing community of business professionals and professional drivers who share a commitment to that mission and to strengthening the future of trucking together. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jenny Fall. I'm the Director of Driver Engagement here at Women in Trucking. And today I am proud to introduce Brent Hutto, the Chief Relationship Officer for Truck Parking Club, and Chris Burrows, the President and CEO of Transportation Intermediaries Association, or TIA. Brent and Chris will be leading a conversation and introducing you to the 2026 Distinguished Woman in Logistics Award winner, Aurélie Doucette. Brent and Chris, I'll leave it to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Jenny. Really appreciate everything that you do to make our industry great and everything Women in Trucking does. I know that Chris and I both are super fans of Women in Trucking and everything that Jennifer and the team and all you guys are doing there to help make our industry as great as it can be. And you're absolutely right. We're not going to get as near as far as we need to do to support the United States of America without all women participating in logistics and in transportation wherever they want to engage. So thank you again for being such a great leader. And I know that this is a really fun webinar to be a part of. I get excited about it every time we get to bring this incredible leader to the marketplace. And so this webinar today is about the Distinguished Women Logistics Award winner. And this award for the industry started back in 2015. And the first time I saw it, I was just blown away by the leadership character of the first winner, Christy Nichols. So she just was incredible, like about her story and about how she's leading her company to help our industry. And so I just know at that point that I want to be involved in it. But the award itself, it recognizes the contributions of an outstanding individual for her achievements and leadership in North American logistics. And so just super important that we do this in order to grow our marketplace into what it needs to be. And so I know that from Truck Parking Club, we're honored to be a part of it. And I know Chris is too. So Chris, I'd love for your comments there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brent. And TIA truly has been honored to be a sponsor of this and host the Women in Logistics Award at our conference for many years, dating back to 2015, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So we're thrilled. I'm super excited about the conversation today with our winner. And Brent, I'll turn it back to you to kick things off.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Look, trucking out there, thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. Remember, we're going to take, this is live. We're going to take questions at the end. So if we screw this up, just remember it's live. That's transportation and that's logistics. So this year's winner of the Distinguished Women Logistics Award is Aurélie Doucette. She's on the call. You see her live right here. She's live and in person. She's actually, as with everything in logistics, she's on the move. She's in the Philadelphia airport. So, but this is super important. So, Aurélie, first off, congratulations from everybody in transportation. Just congratulations on being the 2026 winner of this Distinguished Women Logistics Award.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brent. And thank you guys for having me today.
Yeah, well, we need to do more and more things like this because, leadership knows no boundaries. It absolutely knows no boundaries. And we need as many prepared leaders in this market as much as we can. So first off, we're going to go through a series of questions, which is going to be lots of fun. So you can get to know Aurélie as a person, so you can get to know her as a leader, so you can get to know her as a logistics professional. So, but first, the one that I want to ask Aurélie is, I think about this audience and I think about like the winners of this in the past, or the people that have been recognized in the past. Because look, there were 3 finalists, and you guys are all fantastic leaders this year. There's always so many that are leaders in this market. And I think about Christy, the very first winner, Shelly Simpson, Renee Krug, Judy McReynolds from Mark Best. I think about our own Sue Sparrow, who's been involved in TIA, Angela L.A. Costas, Nicole Glenn, who was with Candor, Erin Van Zeeland at Schneider, Sarah Ruffcorn at Trinity. Last year, Martha Payne, who's with Benesh. So there's just so many incredible leaders and I think about so when you think about being in that sort of arena of leaders in our marketplace. I just want to know, Aurélie, what does this award mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, you know what? When you list all those ladies, I feel very humble
Yeah.
by being in the same arena as all of them. So it's a humbling moment, very special, not expected at all. Um, Personally, I think my kids were super excited to see
Yeah,
me
yeah,
in the
yeah.
news. I think that was the biggest thing. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're on the news." And just, you know what, something that really surprised me too is within the Penske Logistics organization,
Mhm.
I've had women coming to me and say, "It was so cool to see your name out there."
Yeah.
They just connected with me, and it was something very, very special that I was kind of expecting it, but to that level, that magnitude was really, it just resonates really dearly to my heart.
Yeah. Well, okay. You mentioned since you brought them up, I would love to hear you say what were your girls' reactions to when you said, I got this award. So I'd love to hear what they say about their mom.
I think they were very impressed.
Yeah.
Um, I think they said that I was pretty cool. I think I got the cool.
You got
I
cool as a
got,
parent. That's pretty
I
neat.
know, and I got another word that I don't think I'm supposed to say on this webinar, which I don't think I've heard my kids saying it before. I think they were just in their eyes. They were like, "Wow, that's not surprising because you're so committed and so dedicated and you care."
Yeah.
So it was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yes, absolutely. So thank you for that. So Chris, you
Yeah.
got the next. You're going to get the next great question.
Yeah, but really, and on behalf of all of our TM members, congratulations.
Yeah, sure.
Truly an honor getting this award for you. Who is somebody who has influenced you or supported you on your leadership journey? I'd love to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, well, it starts with my dad. I saw my
Yeah.
dad working really hard.
Mhm.
Started as an accountant and ended up his career as a CFO. And he didn't have a college degree or anything, so I really witnessed it. So I'm originally from France, and
Yeah.
I guess the stereotypical French person might not be what you imagine, like hardworking and dedicated. You picture it like more someone that go on strike, I guess, and have a lot of vacation and time for lunch, right? So I did not see that. I saw someone that was working really, really hard and was committed to his field, and that really resonate. Like, that was the example that I saw growing up. That was like the first real mentor, I would say, that I've had,
Yeah.
and he's been in my journey the whole way through. And then throughout my career, I had different mentors. I think I've said it when we had our luncheon at the
Yeah.
TIA
Yeah.
conference. I feel like mentors are like friends. They're part of your life at some point. Some
Mhm.
of them are staying longer than others, but you have to foster the relationship to continue it throughout your whole career. And I've been very lucky that I've had either my direct manager or mentors assigned to me that I worked really closely and that were always there in my corner, like my cheerleaders along the way. And that really helps because it builds your confidence and just guides you and enables you to take risks sometimes that you might not have taken on your own.
Right. So would you say that having mentors has been one of the keys to your success?
Oh, definitely. Just the challenges. Life happens. There's a bunch of stuff that'll happen, and then we humans are not really fun and excited about change. And usually, to grow in your career, you have to take some leap of faith, and those require change. And having a mentor in your corner that helps you and prop
Mhm.
you and just give you that extra push to get you there, or just to say, what do you have to lose? Just take the chance.
Yeah.
And that each of those person along the way have helped me to where I am today. No question about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that encouragement goes a long way. I know that's been a big part of me and my career. So you talked about change. I think about different pivotal points in your life and in your career, and so I'd love for you to tell the listeners today, what are some of those couple of big pivot points for you in your career that felt like were the big turning points of your career where you're like, okay, I'm not going that direction, but man, that direction's where I need to go. So what were some of those for you?
Well, so starting off, when I started my career as a French person, I had to find a company that was willing to take a chance on me. So that was the first step.
Okay.
I wanted to stay in the States. That was my goal. I couldn't see past that. That was important to me. So after my first year, I kind of was forced to go to Canada, more or less. So the question was like, should I do that or should I go back? And one of that was, you know what, let's just give it a shot.
Right.
I realized really quickly that it was cold, really cold in Canada. But, it's one of those that I realized that you don't have a path, or some people do. Some people have their map, they map their whole career and then they're like, okay, 2 years I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. I didn't have that. I was more going with the flow, and opportunities were coming and I was like, yep, like sign me up. Let me try this. Let me move to Canada. Let me move back to Georgia. Let's take on this new customer. And then after that, it keeps on coming along the way. And the next thing I know, I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Where am I? Pivotal moment is when the company that I was working for, Transfreight, was acquired by Penske Logistics.
Okay.
That was one because it was a big moment. It's like, what do I do? I mean, if I go with the song, do I stay or do I go, right? Or should I go? It's really, it's one of those where you have to make a decision. And the thought was, you know what, let's just stick around and see what happens. Okay. And that was really definitely a big pivotal moment. Usually sometimes those pivotal moments happen in challenging time. Right. I had a challenged customer. And I remember at the time, my VP, who's now our executive vice president, Mike Medeiros, told me, he's like, is it life or death that you're doing? And I was like, no. And he's like, okay, so breathe, just take a deep breath, and then it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And then I had to reframe my mindset of, okay, even though it's not going well with this particular customer, we're able to pivot and make sure that I'm still sane and I stay sane throughout the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So those are the big ones.
Yeah, I hope we keep a couple questions at the end about the French soccer team, who I'm a huge fan of, and we'll see if they go to the third straight World Cup final.
I'm cheering, Chris. I am cheering.
But is there something that drew you into logistics? And you got touched on a little bit, but maybe something about the industry and transportation that kind of drew you in.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I fell into it more than anything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Yeah, did you fall into it like many other people did, or was it? Oh no, I want to be in logistics.
It wasn't that. It was more I fell into it. It was I don't know what I want to do with my life. It was you go, if you're lucky enough to go through college and do, I had a economics and math major, so I was keeping my option open. And I tell my kids all the time, keep the funnel open. You don't know unless you know for sure where you want to go. Keep your options. And then I did my master, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I did a supply chain class with Dr. Moody at the time, that was at University of Tennessee, but moved to St. Louis right around that time. And it just connected. I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's super organized. You do, especially on the logistics and supply chain, you build routes and they get there on time. And it's, I like that kind of stuff. Well, conceptually, it works really well, as you'll know. And in the real life, it's a different story. But that also was something that I really enjoy, that I didn't realize I would, is all the changes along the way. So it was really falling into it and then really enjoying what I was doing and then learning more along the way. And it's been a really, as you both know, a really fun industry to be in.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting. I want to add a little more of a question to your, hey, just go for it and just do it sort of thing. So when you think about how you started to learn to create success and to start thinking like a leader, one of the things that they say about that really defines really good leaders is it's not how you react in the times when everything's going your way. Mm-hmm. It's how you react when things aren't going your way and there's setbacks. Correct. So I'd love to understand how, as you've approached things, in your learning in the industry, how have you started to look at when curveballs are thrown at you, when things don't go your way? How do you approach reacting to that and then working through it?
Really good question, Brent. Usually I take some deep breath.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's something too, the way I reacted very likely earlier in my career,
Right.
it's not the same as how I'm reacting
Yeah.
now, for
Okay.
sure. So I would say I was maybe a little bit more like reactive, like jumping before. Now I'm more like, okay, everybody, because I'm usually the one that's trying to calm everybody down more than anything and be
Right.
like, okay, let's just look at what we have. It's not a problem, it's an opportunity. Let's figure out how we get
Okay.
to where we need to go. I'm really bad with expression in general, but this one I'm like, okay, it's like the Lion King. Forget about the past. Let's move forward, right? Cannot change what happened. What we can do is learn from it and actually do something different.
Right.
I'm really not big into well, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I am big into it is what it is in the sense of it's happened in the past, but now let's do something about it. We don't like how it is, then do something different.
Right.
And I'm all about, and that's something we are actually with Penske Logistics about continuous improvement and fresh idea. Hey, any idea is a good idea until it doesn't work. So let's bring them on. And as we're talking about it, we can come up with maybe one that's even better as we are working together for like a better solution. So it's all about usually calming everybody down. Now, I'll tell you, I think a couple of months ago, I was starting to get a little, not aggravated, but I had one of my guys that says, "Wait, calm down, boss. Calm down, boss. Your French is coming out." Like my accent was picking up. So I knew I was starting to get really nervous, going into that anxiety mode. And I was like, "You're right. Let me just breathe, relax, and okay, let's tackle it a different way."
That's fantastic. I love it. Your French is coming out. That's when somebody knows you really well, right? And I think that's another key. You just brought out something I think that's really remarkable, that your team trusted you enough to really kind of point out something about you personally, right? So,
yeah.
And your reaction to it was one of, oh no, they're not criticizing me. They're just trying to help me.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we're in the people business.
Right.
In my mind, we're a team. Very rarely will I make unilateral decision. I'm gonna maybe I definitely have an opinion, don't get me wrong, but I want to make sure that we're all on board. And sometimes my decision might not be exactly what's going to happen at the end. We're going to twist it and making it better. But it's a team sport where, you know, Penske is very linked to Team Penske. We're all one team. Yeah. I saw it actually at one of my sites this morning. It says we win as a team and we lose as a team. So we want to make sure that we're all aligned and that it's, you know, we're all having each other's back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Teamwork is everything. And I love what you talked about in terms of moving forward and, you know, let's, you know, get fresh ideas in there. And I'm probably going to screw it up, but there was a famous Steve Jobs quote talking about lining up the dots. And he's like, you can't line up the dots for the future. You got to line them up in the past and hope that it works out for the future. And just all about innovation, which is kind of what I want to touch on next is what do you see in terms of logistics transportation industry is like the top innovation over the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And I think if I had, what is it, like the 8-ball magic ball, right? I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know if I would say the right thing, or if you see this in 5 years, you would see. I think AI is going to definitely have an impact on how the industry, at least on a lot of the back office function, we will see a lot of activity. We're already seeing a lot of activity going on. We are seeing some autonomous vehicle going on. Like I was watching something, I can't remember now where I was watching it, but they were talking about some of the activity that's going on. Like so many ideas are coming out. At the Women in Trucking conference a couple of years ago, one lady from Kodak was talking about their autonomous vehicle. There's just I wouldn't even be able to touch everything that could happen. I think the state right now, the state of the world is definitely questioning diesel usage. So it's like, okay, what else is there out there that could be cheaper potentially, because we're pushing all the costs down to the consumer. So there's one piece there. And then the other piece is, if I put a truck on the road, is it full? Like at the end of the day, if it's empty or half empty, that's waste. So how do we improve efficiency in general? And that's where the technology should be going and heading. And that's how everybody should be thinking about it. Not just, oh, I got a truck and then it's going and you're like, what's in it? I don't know. It's just going somewhere. It's like literally burning gas for no reason. So I guess we'll see. I'm excited about the future, or at least the next 5 years. The truck parking club initiatives is also really, really cool. And I'm excited. We've been talking to one of our customer. They have space. Yeah. Everybody right now is looking for $1 and a penny left and right. Maybe not pennies anymore. I should say a quarter, like $1 and a quarter. There's no more pennies, guys. But whatever we can do to make it the space that we have and make it useful for the industry and really the world out there.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point. So your present responsibilities are, you're the vice president of dedicated contract carriage operations at Penske Logistics. And so I think about what you just said. So first off, that's a big responsibility. How many people are on your team?
About 1,500, something like that.
Oh, just 1,500.
Yeah.
I thought she said 15 for a second, Chris. Then she said 100. I'm like,
who's counting?
Smokes, that's a bunch of people. So
it is.
Okay, so you just gave us a little bit of a teaching lesson there just a moment ago. So this kind of feeds into my question. You said, and I think this is the age-old dilemma that everybody runs into when life gives you lemons, right? Mm-hmm. You can either look at it as a problem, or you can look at it as an opportunity. And that's what you just said. It's not a problem, it's an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I think about, like, when you think about like skills, as you're coaching the 1,500 people on your team, some of them are at your level, some of them are just below your level, some of them are moving up to your, wanting to have that leadership role. As you think about skills that someone needs as an emerging leader, what would be the ones that you would think that would be the most appropriate in leadership? And then how would that apply to logistics?
Okay, fair enough. Well, first, let's say any leadership skills apply to logistics. So right there, we're going to put that there. Yeah. I would think the relationship with people and how we interact with each other. That's something, like, you have to be empathic. Okay, now I can't find the word. You need to have empathy. How about that? That's one. You need to be able to have the trust of the people around you. And it goes both ways. Yeah. And then I would say just building those relationships along the way, so you feel like at the end of the day, it's the team. One of the things would also be, we talked about it, like not being reactive, but being more proactive, like seeing potentially the problems ahead and being able to have like what I call like plan A, plan B, plan C, right? Sometimes I'm going to tell my team, because the plan B and plan C might be a little either too far. I'm like, okay, let's just try with plan A first. That doesn't work. We'll come up with a plan B, but let's just focus on the plan A. So I see their mind like spinning. And then the other thing is, sometimes what I've seen, especially high successful leaders that are trying to move up, sometimes they know too much. I mean, in the sense where they know too much about their field, right? So it's hard for someone else to come in. Like, I need for them to be less doers and more leaders. Oh. But it's hard when they are so much in the doer job, that the delegation piece, right? How do you delegate, and how do you trust others? And that's why I'm seeing some people struggling, because they're like, well, I could be the smartest one in the room. Well, you know what? Maybe you are, but you need to elevate yourself by giving some autonomy to some people within your team. Delegate, trust them. They have to show. It's not just, I delegate, drop, and, turn my back. They have to prove that they can do it. But really giving that opportunity. I feel like that's where most leaders struggle, is to do that leap. And being comfortable with who they're hiring potentially within their team,
Mhm.
so they can do some let go of some of the doing tasks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. I love that. So you said relationship with people, learn to trust or build trust. It's always about the team. Be proactive versus reactive, and learn to delegate. In other words, it's not always about you. And if you really want to make, what would it look like if there were two great people like you? So teach somebody else to do it. Help
Yes.
them move along. Yeah, yeah. Great points. Great points.
And you know what? You bring up something else. Ideally, the best way of knowing if you're successful or not is that, let's say you move up somewhere and you already have someone on your bench. You have like, and they step in and there's no hiccup. That
Yeah,
means you've done amazing. If the whole thing falls apart, that means you did not do a good job, right? But ideally, it's seamless in the transition, and it really feels strong for the team to be able to take it on, and then it's just that's the smoothest way, and it's a very humbling moment to see usually that succession planning in effect.
yeah. Great words. That's good. Great point.
Yeah. Let's talk about women coming into the industry.
Oh yeah,
So you've got a couple daughters, Brent. I think you have three daughters.
I do.
Three. Okay. I have a little girl myself. So what advice would you give, a woman that's coming into the transportation logistics industry today?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ooh, that's a good one. Ask question, put yourself out there, be receptive to feedback. That's a big one that I have seen. And not be afraid to own your space. And that's sometimes, so I feel like, Chris, you kind of like put me up to talk about the business resource group within Penske that I'm the executive champion for. But one of the things that we're talking about, I'm sure it was planned. But one of the things that we talked about is that for applying for a job, just basic, a woman will wait that they're like 90% to 100% ready to apply,
Okay.
versus a man is going to be 60%. He's like, poof, I own it. I can do this. I can do it. No problem. How do we get women to that stage where they feel like they can own it and make it happen at the 60%? I'm not saying, everybody needs to be at 100, because that's also unrealistic. You have to take a leap, and you don't know if you're going to be successful or not. But you have to be trusting that you are able to, and making sure that the next generation of women is thinking that way and not afraid of taking it on, and not afraid to be applying to the job that very likely they could do and be successful at, that they're thinking, I am not good enough. That's where the narrative needs to change. It might apply to any jobs, and it might apply to any industry as well. Definitely the logistics and trucking industry is more male dominated, as we all know. So it's going to be harder. You have to stand up, and you have to be fine to own your space. And I'll tell you, from a short person perspective, a lot of guys are really tall, and sometimes I'm the shortest one, and that's okay. I'm like, I'm here, but it's but you have to be comfortable doing that.
Yeah. That's so. Chris, when we were at the Capital Ideas conference, which is for those of you on this call that don't know, that's TIA's annual conference. It's called Capital Ideas, and it's really all about what ideas can you bring to help improve your business and improve your career. So, Aurélie, you said something at the lunch, and it struck me, and I'll never forget it. You said, when I was given opportunity to advance my career, I just said yes. I just said yes, and I moved forward into that yes. I didn't have to know all the answers. Most of the time I didn't know all the answers. I just said yes. And I think that was very, well, it motivated me, it inspired me, but I know that would inspire others. So talk about how that saying yes and the platform that you have at Penske, talk about how you see that helping others.
I think you have to, there's a piece, it's within yourself that's open to saying yes. I'm not saying not everybody has it, but sometimes you have to get more out of your comfort zone to be able to say those words yes. So there is something there. At that same luncheon, I think Eileen, that's the finalist, was saying, well, I have to learn how to say no. And it was funny because I think it depends where you are in your career. I think early on you have to say yes. Later on, when you're like
Yeah.
not compromising as much because you have a family or whatever, that's when you have to say maybe no, or more like tailor what you're looking for
Right.
more, because you're kind of established. But when you're proving yourself out there, you definitely have to put yourself out there and say yes. Within the BRG, I've seen a lot of women they're saying yes. They're saying yes to the opportunities. They say yes to challenges of changing. Because within Penske, we have the logistics group that I'm under, and then there's the truck rental and leasing. That's a different side. But what we've seen is more women going from one side, more women. Maybe there are as many men, I don't know statistically, but I've seen women taking the leap and changing from one side to the other, which they might not have done it before. They might have been scared. It's different. The saying yes, being scared, getting out of your comfort zone, they're all connected. They're all very connected in a way that you have to sometimes try new things. And the new things are not going to be in your comfort zone no matter what.
Yeah.
They're not new things if they are. It's just what it is. And there's lots. You were talking about it earlier. So I have my oldest that is a freshman in college. There's a lot of adjustment. There's pivotal time in your life where it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, that you are making big changes.
Right.
Decided to go to college, decided which college. And then the other big one is, which career do you go? What's your first job? And I think we talked about it also at the luncheon. It's not you're not picking up a career, you're picking a job. And then hopefully you try to connect the value of the company that you're interviewing with your personal one. And I tell that to, I was at Auburn a couple of months ago, and I was talking to students, and that's really what it comes down to. That
Right.
first job, you have to connect somehow. And ideally you see a path for growth. That you take that path or not, that's your decision. But at least you're connecting in multiple different levels, that you're like, you know what, I think I can see myself at this company for an amount of time. And whatever it is, it's part of your career journey, and it's part of your own experience, and you built from it, and ideally learned from it and grow. It's a very interesting thing when you're thinking about how a career goes. It's usually never a straight line. And the people that have straight lines, it's very unusual. The bouncing up, that's where you get your experience. That's when you're shine in different places and gives you potential new opportunity that you would not have had if you were going in a straight line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, great words.
Yeah. Just say yes. I mean, that's
Isn't that great? Isn't that great, Chris? Yeah. It's like, yeah, just say, I'm going to teach all my kids to
absolutely
approach it that way.
I'm starting tonight at the dinner table.
All right.
Just say yes to doing the dishes.
Yes. And yes to the green beans. You're right. Just start early.
My daughter's pretty good about that. The boys kind of slack. So
okay, well, maybe he needs to do yes more.
The boys need yes more. Yes, absolutely. Just a reminder to everybody in the audience, please put your questions in the comment section.
Do. Yeah,
we would love to get to those. So, in terms of legacy, like, what do you hope to leave behind? What's your legacy in the logistics industry?
First, I still have many more years. Just putting it out there. I mean, it sounds like I'm not that old yet.
Well, really think about the question this way. Like, you just said this. You just said, the way I think today is not the way I thought yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You said I've learned to think a little differently. So, in light of that question that Chris just asked, where is it when you finish up? Where you can look back and go, oh yeah, this meant something. I did something I wanted to do.
I think all the personal the connection that I've made with people along my career, where I've seen them grow, where I've seen them move and advance in their career, and I was able to be part of that journey in some way, shape, or form, even if it was just an encouragement or anything like this. That's filling my cup. So I know that we've had being part of the women's BRG within Penske, I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of women, and I've always said, reach out, talk to I'm a person, just talk to me. If you have any questions, if you want, I can look at whatever, your resume, I can look at your presentation, and people are taking me up on it, which is great because that's how I can connect at the personal level. And that's where I get all my excitement. It's doing that one-on-one touch point, or showing to someone that there's a path, that there's a successful path. I remember going to the elementary school that my kids were going and talking about logistics. That also filled my cup because
Yeah.
you know what? When my youngest one came home and told me she wanted to be a motorcycle stunt driver as a career, I was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm going to go and talk about logistics because there's a lot of options there, right? So it's just, at the end of the day, it's the impact I've had on others, and primarily the people within, like, just, it's really cool. Like, I feel like I'm tearing up just talking about it. It's really something that's special.
Yeah.
I love that. But motorcycle stunt it's not terrible. My youngest said he wanted to be a zombie.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Okay. So yeah, definitely. At least
Yeah.
yes. All right.
Well, that's a great point you just brought up about impact on others. And so I think in the end, and I know I've heard you say this as well about, it's if we're going to be great at what we do, everybody has to come along improving themselves all along. You've kind of hit on that a little bit. So let me shape that question a little differently. So you talk about impact on others and improving yourself, and your legacy would be, how did I really help others become the best that they can be? Mm-hmm. So all along the way, and there's always challenges in any part of your life. And I think about as you're in your business career, sort of the way that people say it today is, what barriers have you faced? And I just think about that from a standpoint of like barriers, like you were from another country for one thing, and you came to another country to start to create your life. And then, and granted, it's less today than ever, but where females are part of the normal business construction, which is fantastic, and then there's just challenges and difference. So that there's barriers no matter where you are. So I think what would be your advice to anyone listening, especially our women who want to learn, who want to grow in their leadership? What would be your advice on how do you first off, how do you find out where those barriers are, and then how do you move past them? How do you get over them? How do you navigate them?
Well, that's your support. It's your village. It's your village.
Oh, your village. Okay. Yeah.
Your village, either in your personal life or your village at work. Yeah. Either way.
Okay.
So my husband and I, we're living in an area where we do not have family. So when the kids were little, we had to rely on others. I mean, don't know if you ever had a plane being late or anything, but sometimes there's a kid that needs to be picked up somewhere, and both parents are working. That's kind of like more the norm these days. You have to know who you can count on, and it's reciprocal. So that's something that you learn really on. It's funny because you don't really realize that you need that village until you have children. Before that, you're like, I'm invisible. I don't need anybody.
Right,
I'm good.
Right.
So that's something that happened. And then at work, you do have your own village. You know who to talk to. You know who can help you here and there. And I remember, we were talking about a pivotal moment when I switched, when Transfreight got acquired by Penske. I knew everybody at Transfreight. I knew who to talk to. And then when I got into the Penske organization, I was like, I have to recreate my network. I have to recreate my village.
Yeah.
And it's something that you usually do it when you change company, not when when you bought out. I didn't think about it. But as you're building your network of people, when challenges come around, and I've told my team, use your support people. We're all one team. It's not just your little circle of friends, for lack of a better word. You have an expanded circle, and that's who you need. Like, we're all in this to succeed together. And so bring the people in that can help you along the way. That's where I'm thinking, I mean, you have to identify that there's a problem, to your point. But once you do, bring the subject matter expert that can help you break it down to a more manageable version of the problem or the opportunity and figure out how to get past it. Now you have to be open for it, right? If you're like, I'm a one-man show and I know it all, that's going to be very difficult to reach out. But
Right.
at the end of the day, we're only successful as a team, not as an individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Well put. Well put.
Do you have any questions, Brent?
Oh yeah, we do. We got one absolutely right here. So let's, thank you, Chris, for that. And all right, so question came in, and this is a good one. All right, this is a good one. Get ready for this. It says,
I don't know.
all right, have you faced any major setbacks or mistakes as you've progressed in your career, and can you share your advice on recovering from a career setback? In other words, like a real oh no sort of situation. So what advice would you give on that?
Well, that's a good one. All right. So thinking back earlier in my career.
Yeah. So a young Aurélie Doucette, right?
Oh, young Aurélie Doucette.
Young.
Oh man, I was like 12. So no, but so I guess there's things that you learn of what not to do, right?
Right.
But you don't know that you shouldn't do it until you've done it, and somebody say, maybe not. We were on site at a customer, and I think I was getting all fired up, and I was talking very likely too loud, and said things that I shouldn't have said. And of course, the customer is sitting right behind me. So did that not go well? Of course, it did not go well. And even though still to this day, I still think I was right, but that's a different topic. What I had to do is I had to go and apologize. Right. I had to own it and apologize and explain that I shouldn't have said it. And I should pretty much figure out a way of moving forward for both of us to work together. The interesting part is that it was a woman, on the other hand, that was also hot-headed. So we were both, I'm sure she still thinks to this day that she was right. So we're in this very interesting piece. But the big thing is, at the end of the day, you have to own it. You have to own whatever setback you have and learn from it. The other piece that I would also say is, we always talk about feedback, make sure you get feedback. And so, I do this, whatever. And I asked that was my HR person at the time. And I was like, do you have any feedback? And she asked me, are you open to receive my feedback? Oh. And I was like, oh, and I was like, what do you mean? And then
that was like a Jedi moment when she was asking you that.
She did, because I was like, well, I never thought about it. How you have to be open to receive the feedback, or if not, it's not it's going to bounce off of you and you'll be like, whatever. But you have to be open to receive the feedback, to learn something from it. So you're literally not doing either the same mistake, or it could be positive feedback. So you can actually be like, oh, I need to own that skills and do it again. So either way, you have to be open to receiving those feedback. That was something that really took me off guard, because I wasn't expecting that. Right.
That's a great point. Let me ask you this. So as a leader, Chris, remember, she leads 1,500 people. Okay. So that's more than a couple. All right. So when you take that, what you look, what?
5. It's about 5. I'm kidding.
That's right. It's not 5. So when you think about that feedback that the person gave you, are you open to my feedback? And now you apply it to where you are in your career now, and you're talking to different up and coming leaders on your team. When you say the same thing to them as a leader, and I love for anybody on the call, listen, this is really important. Listen to this. When you take that same approach with them, how does their reaction to you asking that question give you confidence or lack of confidence in them?
Okay. It depends on it does, but I think it depends on
how does it make you how does it make you think about them and whether or not they're moving forward in their leadership?
it's going to be how they're. So sometimes, even if you say, hey, are you open for feedback? Usually the person is going to say, sure, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
They
all
might
say
not
that.
be.
Then it's the next part, right?
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
usually what happened is more the follow-up. So
Okay.
it might not be in that, they get the feedback
Mhm.
and whatever happened in their head, right? It's what happened after, like after, when they come back to you and say, okay, you know what? I've been thinking about what you said. It's been, it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
And then usually then it comes with some other questions of like, so how do I move forward? What would you suggest? This is the path that I'm thinking. What do you think? So then it becomes more of a
Right.
conversation and it's not emotional. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
feedback ends up being you're like questioning my whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a tend to my persona or whatever. So they have to step away from it to be a little bit more objective. And
Mhm.
for this, it takes a little bit of time. It's not very few people are going to be like, yeah, I don't care what you say because I have zero emotion. We
Yeah.
all have emotion. And
Mhm.
that's where your emotional intelligence kicks in, where you have to be like, I'm absorbing what, let's say, I said to them. And then it's like working inside, and then it comes back out where, okay, where do I go from here? How do I move past? Or they come back to me and say, you know what, I've been thinking about what you said, and I think this is how I'm going to approach it. That's where you really see if the individual gets it or not.
Yeah. Wow, that's really great. My dad always said, son, always be coachable.
Mm-hmm.
And then listen to your coach and then put it into action. And the coach will
Yep.
see that. The coach will see that, and he'll see that you listen and you're open to improvement. Because we all want to improve and get better. I mean, those are great words, Aurélie. Okay, so Chris, we have another question. Are you ready for it, Chris?
Yep.
Here we go.
Just
yeah. It says, Aurélie, you've spoken about the importance of having a mentor. I am a woman-owned freight business owner, and in my experience, women have been less likely to share than men. You hit on that just a second.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself gaining information from my male peers. How would you encourage women to navigate being open to sharing while maintaining professionalism and respect of others? Oh, that's a good question.
That is a really good question. And I would definitely say no matter what, gain the experience or the information from whoever is providing
Yeah.
it to you. It
Yeah.
shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be thinking, well, I'm a woman, therefore there's this path or that path.
Right.
I think, and that's completely a personal opinion, is that we women maybe tend to be more guarded, and especially in a male-dominated industry, and protect themselves more because they're worried about what could happen otherwise.
Right.
So by doing that, what we are not, maybe the like the impact that we are not thinking about is how it's impacting other women seeing it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it would be important for the women in general listening to be like, to build a trust. At the end of the day, you're not going to mentor someone you don't know. That's maybe the difference. Like, I feel like for a woman to mentor someone else, you have to build that personal connection, because if not, it's kind of it's very transactional. And I'm not talking to the person that I've just a transaction versus someone that I have a personal connection with the same way, because I'm more invested in them. So how do you build an investment is really by making that, like, build the trust, maybe share more to build that connection. That's really what and I know it's saying, while maintaining professionalism and the respect of others, you can still get the respect by being open and showing who you are. My team would say, I'm an open book, and that goes with integrity. What you see is what you get. I'm not a different person. My family would say I'm very likely to business, right? But you have to show up the way that you want other people to see you, and therefore share and coach the same way.
Right. Well, that's show up the way you want people to see you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. You got some great wisdom here.
I did not know I did, but here you go.
You have some great wisdom. I loved your point about, and Chris, I thought this was really cool. And Aurélie just said, you can't be transactional and expect to build trust. You have to be relational. That's really powerful, Aurélie. That's really super powerful. So, so in light of it, so my guess is that that approach has shaped a lot of who your leadership style today in what you're doing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think we talked about it at the conference, right? We talked about how relationship is important, and we're talking about AI and everything, but relationship is key. I mean, I guess maybe at some point they'll build a robot that has emotion, maybe. Probably. But until then, the scary part is which emotion, right? So
but well put. In light of that sort of idea of like, some of the things that have helped you, so how were some of those things what were some of those things that you saw as defining moments in how that shaped you as a leader? Because we all go through so many different things. If you do something long enough, you're going to have a lot of things that are called pivot points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what were some of those things that shaped you in your leadership and that taught you how to pivot correctly?
I think what I was talking about earlier, moving from the doer to a leader was pivotal, because I love going in the weeds. I mean, those are fancy weeds. And when you're really good at it, you're like, that's my comfort zone, right? It's like, oh, let me spend time there. And trying to step out of it and have the conversation with the people that are doing the work.
Right.
That's something you have to schedule. Like, I've talked to my guys, it has to be intentional. If it's not, like, you're not going to find the time to do it otherwise. So blocking, like, basic stuff, right? Blocking your calendar that says, I'm taken. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. I'm going to call people. I'm going to see people. I'm going to talk to the driver that's delivering something. I'm going to talk to the person on the dock. Those are going to be where you're creating that impact. And you have to understand that you have to get to that, or have those meaningful relationship and conversation with the customer, with your team. Those are the time that the magic happens. That's when you can get your team to follow you, to follow whatever that vision might be, and how we all, I always talk about, like, we're all rowing in the same direction. Because if not, I could be doing my own thing saying, yeah, let's do this. And everybody's like, yeah, no, I'm going that way. Well, it's not going to work. So I have to, that once you get it from a pivotal point in your career, once you get it, that you need to get people's buy-in. Because at the end of the day, I cannot force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. So I have to get their buy-in. And that's really starting with the relationship piece.
Yeah. Well said. Chris, we have another question. Do you want to ask this one? Or do you want me to ask?
Sure.
I really like this question.
That's a good one. Yeah. So many people in leadership roles can struggle with imposter syndrome and feelings of inadequacy and roles that are absolutely qualified for. Do you ever encounter imposter syndrome, and how do you respond to it? Was there a point in your career where you realized you felt like a leader?
Oh man, that's the best question so far.
My goodness. So yes, what do you mean? Like right now, imposter syndrome? Yeah, for sure. I was talking about it with my kid, actually, because I think, like, I guess I never thought about it until, we talked about it earlier. Yes, keep on going. I know how to do it. I'll stretch myself. Never really think about it. And I think that's kind of where, you keep on going along I feel like I'm like pushing my little cart and not really looking. And next thing I know, I'm like, oh, here I am. So yes, the imposter syndrome, I have seen it more on the women's side for sure that I have seen it on the man's side. No question about it. I've ever felt it. Yes. Throughout this whole process of this award, I have felt the imposter syndrome big time. And I'm working on owning it. And that's really what it comes down to, to realize that, you know what? I am in the right space. I am in the right place. I talked to Eileen, the other finalist, about it. It is a journey, and you have to kind of step out of it to be able to not feel that way. It's a lot of internal work. And when I really felt like a leader, in my mind, it's just an everyday, like I don't think about it. But then I realized that things that you have in your, kind of what, you see what you get. What I do in my professional life bleeds into the personal life. So apparently some of the moms from the sports team that my kids they're a little intimidated by me. Didn't realize that until recently. So so you have to, somehow you're carrying yourself the way, there's something about how you show up. And I think I said it already. That really makes a difference in the impact. And I think how people see you too. So you have to, it's kind of silly. I think I was seeing like things that you don't need any qualification for, right? You are on time. Like there's like a list of 10 or 12. Right. I think the way you show up, the way, you're standing up straight. And especially when you see the younger generation, right? You're standing up straight. You look people in the eyes. That you would think that's like a crazy thought, right? When you're having a conversation, you don't just like be like this. You're in the moment. You make that special connection. And it is, I guess for me, it's all like, I make an effort to be intentional along the way. And then eventually I'm like, oh, okay, well, I am where I need to be. And I am where I've earned my spots. Not easy, but it takes, time and work on yourself really to do it. Hopefully that helps. I don't know if I'm really helping on this question. It's like a hard one.
That's a great way to answer that question. I think the reality is, and for anyone watching this webinar is about leadership, and it's about you're listening to a fine example of career leadership from the 2026 Distinguished Woman Logistics Award winner, Aurélie Doucette, who works for an incredible global company, Penske Logistics, who, by the way, has just as many challenges as everybody else. Does she get imposter syndrome? She just said yes, and yet you would think, oh, well, she's reached this position. That doesn't happen anymore. It's just part of being human. So thank you for being so, just transparent and refreshing, Aurélie. That's fantastic. All right, last question, and then we'll close it up for the day. Okay, so.
Okay.
I always like to ask this question. Chris and I like to ask this question about, like, we all get older. We all get better at what we're doing. We have less failings in our life. However, we always kind of look back and go, well, if I had to do it over again, what would I have told my younger self in the direction that you would go? And so I like that as a last question, like, because a lot of people are just starting out, and a lot of people that will watch this webinar are just starting out in their careers. And what would you have told your younger self at the start of your career?
I guess there's one thing. First, I wouldn't have changed anything. I would not have changed anything.
That's good.
Because if not, I would not be where I'm at. So there's that. What I would have said is, I guess, keep it going. Like, I feel like I'm like the little, what is it? The blue train, keep on chewing along the, the little engine that could. That's exactly how I feel. It's like, just yes along the way. Don't give up. Sometimes there's going to be a hard time, but there's lights at the end of the tunnel. Every tunnel has a light, whatever you're like, it might be long, it might be a long tunnel, but there's a light somewhere. Find a win along the way. Sometimes they're small, but celebrate those wins. So you can keep yourself motivated. And so that's what I would just give her a little push, pat on the back, and good luck. And I'll see you on the other side.
Well, I love it. Well, Aurélie, for Chris and I, you've been a joy to talk to and to hear from and to learn from. And some of the things I'm taking away. Number one, I think something you just said: make an effort to be intentional, and then it's not a problem; it's an opportunity. And most importantly, just say yes. You can do far more than you think you can do. So just say yes to it. So, hey, on behalf of on behalf of Women in Trucking, on behalf of the Transportation Intermediaries Association, on behalf of Truck Parking Club, on behalf of our trucking industry, thank you for being a great example of leadership in our industry. We want to honor you.
Thank you very much.
Well, you are so welcome. And Chris, I also want to say thank you to you and to TIA for giving a platform, giving a stage, continuing to promote great leadership and great female leadership in our industry. It's you got having a stage to do it, and your willingness to want to do this is really what helps. In a big part, helps us move forward. So, on behalf of our industry, thank you so much for giving the stage to this.
Yeah, absolutely, it's important to us, and you can see why. You get a true star here. You are not an imposter. You are so deserving of this award and a phenomenal leader. So kudos to you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to your great corporation, Penske, for being a leader in our industry and doing the right things to help create leadership, create wonderful females coming up in leadership in our industry that makes our industry better. And so thank you so much again for everybody for paying attention and being a part of this. And we hope you learned something. If you didn't, you probably weren't paying attention, because boy, did she have a lot of great things to say. Hey, look, the Distinguished Women Logistics Award continues on. It started in 2015 and it continues on. And I know, saying this from Chris and Aurélie, we need more and more people to submit great nominations for this award. Each year we try to grow it. We'd love to break records next year. And so go to the Women in Trucking website. It's www.womenintrucking.org. And look for the opportunity to nominate next late fall. All right. So just look for this. And thank you so much for being a part of the webinar today. Again, Aurélie, we honor you. We honor your company. We honor what you do to make our industry great. So thank you again for being a part of this. And appreciate everybody listening today. And thank you so much. Go out and be a leader yourself and make a difference in your environment.
Thanks.
Thank you.